not get really weird. So that scares me.
All right, awesome. I want to understand the data play behind the energy tech stuff that you're working on as a follow-up conversation. To harken back to earlier discussion. Okay, so my name is Ann Mooney. I live in Cincinnati, and I spent 18 years at Procter and Gamble. I've had a boutique strategy consultancy for 14 years, and I'm an angel investor. I'm part of the Queen City Angels, as is Jack. It's a fund and a group. We're up to 190 plus members, and for some reason, 15 months ago, I waded myself into academia. And so I'm now the executive director for Xavier University Center for Experiential Learning. And I've taken that, we're going to talk about all that later, but I'm pretty enthusiastic and energized about that work. I'm a little bit beleaguered because we've been learning. I don't work at the speed of academia. I don't have that setting. And so it's been fun. It's been frustrating as hell, but it's been super fun and energizing when the students do. It's amazing. We're going to talk about that later. So what excites me? What excites me is I feel that in Ohio right now, to echo some of the things that Jack said or build on them, I feel that we're at an absolute inflection point, that we are uniquely, geographically, monetarily, governmentally, we are suited to thrive, to outperform other states, definitely the coast, etc. And I feel like we are just getting there. And so super excited. The Intel plant is, one example. What's the place name? The place we went yesterday.
Transportation Research Center.
Yeah, the Transportation Research Center. Seriously, that resource is here. Nobody knows about it. I mean, less than 1% of people in Ohio even know that exists. Like we have all of these super weapons that superpowers and super weapons that people don't even know about. And so those are the things that excite me. The other thing that excites me based on our time with Xavier is the capability of these young up and coming Gen Zers, millennials that most people discount and dismiss. And I want to tell you what I did at Xavier is get out of the way and let them lead, let them do, let them manifest the vision. And so I think that that's the most under leveraged, under appreciated resource that we have is these up and coming youth. And I think they're amazing. I learn something from them every day. So that excites me. What scares me is academia stifling youth, not being connected enough in to business, commercialization, the real world. Like that's my job, is to bring the real world to these students and the students into the real world. And I just don't think there's enough of it. Even the presentation that happened a little earlier, the question that I asked, I thought it was a terrible response. I'm sorry, I just can't handle it. It's like that's not experiential learning, that you work with somebody who used to be a practitioner. That doesn't count. So that scares me. So that was academia, was the I and the T. The infrastructure. I'm concerned that Ohio does not have the infrastructure to and hasn't had enough foresight to be ready for Intel and all the things that come with that. So that's another thing I'm worried about. And there was something that ends with an A. It's like, I can't remember. I didn't write it down. I'm not good like Jack. But accrued. Yeah, we'll say accrued. Yeah. So talk to me or Jack about accrued. There was one more thing, but it doesn't matter. I'll remember. On to you.
Thanks, Anna. Mike Lawrence, I work for a family office in the Cleveland area. Family is the founder of Gojo Industries down in Akron, Ohio. Inventor and maker of Grill. There's a bottle over there by the food. He's used them now and consistently throughout. Couple of things that I'm excited about are a lot of the things that were mentioned up here. A lot of the foundational elements for a thriving economic environment, a thriving entrepreneurial environment, thriving middle market environment are all present here in Ohio, in all of the major metro areas and throughout the state. So I won't go back to that. I'll say I'll focus on what scares me. And what scares me is in Northeast Ohio, we have utterly failed to do what's right for the economic environment and bringing large companies in. We have failed to bring younger talent to the city in a way that Columbus and Cincinnati frankly have. So as a result, I feel like we are falling behind in the Cleveland area, what is being accomplished in the southern half of the state. And that concerns me for the longevity and the prosperity of the Northeast Ohio region, where a lot of the economic heft was originally. And so it scares me a little bit that we're gonna not necessarily lose our stature or lose our place, but that we're gonna be left behind by the cities that are actually investing and have a city government and a local government that is coordinated. We have a great lake right in Cleveland, right there, shit ton of water. We could have had Intel up there, but instead they decided to put it down here because you guys got your act together in Columbus, but you had to drill down hundreds of feet to get enough water for that application. So we have a great lake. We missed out because we couldn't get our team. So that's what scares me about, at least about the Cleveland and the Northeast Ohio area.
Like, how do you get the act together?
Well, if there was a report that came out, I don't know, a couple years ago, talking about the dysfunctionality of the Cleveland city government. It's one of the most expensive city governments in the country, right up there with New York and LA, but way smaller. We have more wards than a lot of other cities of our size, and so there's a lot of other constituents, a lot of constituencies on the city council that need to be satisfied. And as a result, it's just utter dysfunction. I think it's a lost opportunity. I think that there needs to be a rethink of how the government is situated. We have too many different groups, too many different small communities that all compete for essentially the same things.
Any questions about Ohio?
I want to build to what Mike said. The other thing I was thinking about, and I think is a theme here, and it completes the thought that I probably wrote off on, which is talent. Attracting and retaining talent. Right? So many of the folks that might come to Ohio State or UC or any of these Ohio universities that then go back off to the East Coast, that's an intellectual drain. And so that's also one of the things that I'm super passionate about, and with my connectivity into academia, is driving connections across universities, not just within Cincinnati, but now coming out of this, I'm really enthused and energized about meeting more people from Denison, folks from Ohio Wesleyan, the folks from Walsh College, et cetera, just on and on. So Miami, I think we've got as well. Perhaps it maybe just came in. So I'm not sure who's on the panel later, but I think us thinking about attracting and then retaining that talent, and part of that is helping the folks that are these really high flyers that are great, and plug them into job opportunities so that they do stay here, they don't leave. I think I could be stingier about the great talent that actually steps into Ohio, and then also go after folks and definitely look for low-hanging fruit that includes boomerangs.
I was quoted recently as saying our greatest export over the last 20 years in Ohio is talented and I think that's something that we really need to strongly consider. And I think it takes all of us to work on that, but I see the new industries and new opportunities that are coming as a reason to bring this to back. We talked to the diaspora folks from Ohio. They didn't leave because they didn't want to be here for the most part. They left because the office here. It's our job, folks that are still here, the folks that are interested in investing here, to create those opportunities for them to boomerang back. Have a chance to create like that.
Any questions about Ohio direction? Comments? Pete?
No, I guess, how can the rest of us do it out? I think, well, he's co-leading an investment to put a $220 million plant in Ohio, with California technology. So you're
And
helping.
did you say Marietta area?
Yes.
So we should connect him to John Miller from last night, who's not here today.
What should help you?
Yeah.
Get that plant going. That creates jobs.
It's talking to the local economic development guy maybe too.
What is that?
Is he here? Is that you? Okay. Mark, I gave call an audible.
Well, he's a.
Is he on later? Oh, he's on later. Okay, cool.
Well, I can call an audible and keep your panel up.
I'm done. Like, are there any more questions?
We got 4 minutes.
Oh, we have 4 minutes. We're actually early. Okay, well, okay, we can take care of that. Oh, that's a question.
I'm just curious. What areas of the state are you most excited about right now? Like, where are you starting to see more energy besides the three seats?
Go ahead.
As a preface to the answer to your question, based upon the discussion that's just taken place, I have a new largest fear about Ohio that didn't exist in my mind before, and that's the demise of Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
I'm not answering the question.
There's that.
Question. I'm super excited, and what I've heard is talking with John Miller last night and the development he's doing in Marietta. I'm from New Lexington, Ohio, which is about 40 minutes, I think, ish from Marietta. I'm actually on my transit there. I'm super excited about what's going on in Marietta, and what John's doing. Obviously, your massive plant that you're putting there, the employment opportunities, what that's gonna do to transform that region. I grew up in a 5,000 person coal mining town. Imagine, okay, I'm 56 years old. And that mine shut down, there's nothing but like drug rehab on the main street of my hometown. There's nothing, that and a couple of bars. So what this is gonna do, for folks from my town, for example, to be able to drive into a great paying job, et cetera, it's gonna uplift all of southeastern Ohio. That's exciting. That's exciting. Now, well, to your question, beyond Marietta, I'm excited about pockets of Cincinnati that are underdeveloped, that are hugely underdeveloped, and maybe near the FC Stadium that people aren't even thinking about, and that I'll probably move to and be part of transforming the community. That's the West End in Cincinnati.
I'm excited about the Mahoning Valley. Thanks for asking.
What's it called?
The Mahoning Valley, Youngstown, Warren, Trumbull, Mahoning counties. Recently just put a $2.3 billion battery plant. Remember when that was a big investment in Ohio? And then now you're just like, oh, it's just 2.3 billion, not a big deal. So huge battery plant, LG and GM put together, creating over 1,000 jobs there. Now with Foxconn, that's manufacturing electric vehicles in the old Forstown plant. There is real jobs that are coming back to that community. Our biggest issue there that I think are solved with something is lack of talented young people and a lack of housing. Which guess what? People are willing to make money, especially when there's good paying jobs that are coming back to that community. So I think those are solvable issues, but I think it's really exciting what's happening in the Valley right now. I love actors. I've been there for a very long time, and Joe Cantor used to buy me lunch once a month. I got the sense of that. So
Yeah, I think the facts support this assertion that there's a growing entrepreneurial ecosystem in all of Ohio that's better and greater than generally known. And therefore it would be useful to cause it to become better known. I mean, the information is compelling. And within our country, there's a view that action is in Silicon Valley or Boston or Austin or Denver, other locales that over a period of time have generated notoriety. But there's a developing notoriety here that's just not known. And part of that is this is another point, but I think it fits. There's a growing within America, there's a growing institutional angel world. There are 262 institutional angel groups or programs that are administered by an entity that is the umbrella that enables me to know it's 262. The Queen City Angels in Cincinnati that's been referenced, which Ken and I are members, has 190 people. Most people in Cincinnati don't know about it, although it's been around 22 years. Most people would have no idea there are 190 members. And there are angel groups in other parts of Ohio, including Cleveland, where we interact with that group. And an opportunity, not sure how we would execute it within this group, an opportunity is to link together better the angel groups so that it becomes more of an organized force that impacts
You know, you do that.
growth of private companies.
You know how you do that?
You feel like
Give them money. We need to create a broader feeder fund into those. Not just we say. We did a $7.5 million fund thanks to Jack and Ann as a feeder and then the last fund, but we should go wider.
You know, this point I made at the beginning, double M, everybody memorize what that is? Midwestern modesty. Well, it could be that it's diminishing or holding back, generating awareness of the vitality and vibrancy that exists in Ohio, that we're asserting is here, but also suggesting isn't yet well known. And maybe that's a typical evolutionary process as areas go through changes. But there's some driving forces in Ohio. Jobs Ohio, to which you referenced, is a powerful force. And we're so lucky that so many people drink so heavily. And that
On that note, okay,
Being a New Yorker, we are lacking in government leadership. It seems like Ohio has had a much better vision from their leaders for where they're going. Jobs Ohio being an example of that. Can you just comment on that for a minute? Do you feel that, or is it not really?
someone other than Jack comment on
no, the reason it should be me. is the reason is the following. I'm a Democrat.
No problem.
And-
sir.
It's pertinent to the story.
Pause. Now, the administration in Ohio is Republican. And notwithstanding my views, as it would follow what I just said that I wasn't allowed to say, and therefore please forget it. The administration has been sensational. The governor and particularly the lieutenant governor have driven initiatives for the state, including Intel. I mean, the Intel story is, Cleveland may not have gotten its act together, but I'm not so sure that the lieutenant governor and the governor would have permitted you to win anyway, because they keep it up for their, their base. But the administration here has been absolutely outstanding in the context of supporting job creation activity. In other areas, they have failed. That's not within our discussion here.
I have like a 3-second answer as well. And I will add on to that, like the state funds a program called Ohio's Earth Frontier, which right wouldn't exist if not for that. So our organization, we're a nonprofit, they pay for 50% of our entrepreneurial services, which is amazing. So the reason that our team is able to be number 3 in the country is because our state has taken the effort to invest in us, and we get to go find that other 50%, but it's all good. So,
Well, thanks for taking up this part of the conference. What we're not finished.
Come join our 361 firm community of investors and thought leaders. We have a lot of events created by the community as we collaborate on investments and philanthropic interests. Join us.